Today is May 6th, 2014, and this is episode 107. This program is intended for informational and educational purposes only. Cryptocurrency is a new field of study. Consult your local futurist, lawyer, and investment advisor before making any decisions whatsoever for yourself. Welcome to Let's Talk Bitcoin, a twice-weekly show about the ideas, people, and projects building the digital economy and the future of money. My name is Adam B. Levine, and today we're in the moment. My first day in Toronto, I trundled down to the Bitcoin Decentral, recorder in tow, and dived into the Bitcoin/Ethereum hackathon. The first half of today's show features selections from that afternoon and includes interviews with Michael Perklin from the Bitcoin Alliance of Canada, Emmanuel of bitcredits.io on their Bitcoin voting system, Brian of Idea Notion on their Bitcoin app for Google Glass, and my first in-person interview with Amir Taki on his hackathon-winning dark market project. Then, we take a look at Goodcoin with Zero Footprint CEO Ron Dembo. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and this one's a non-cryptocurrency approach to quantifying and rewarding good behavior with a, quote, barter token. And finally, we zip over to New York for Stephanie's conversation with Ernest Hancock on Bitcoin, his excitement about MadeSafe, and the Freedom Connection. Enjoy the show. I'm here with Michael Perklin, one of the directors from the Bitcoin Alliance of Canada. We're standing in the hackathon area, and everyone is absolutely down to the wire. I've done a couple of interviews here, but everyone else is very, very busy as the judges kind of get ready to judge everything. So, Michael, can you you've been here the whole time. You're one of the organizers of this event. Can you kind of tell us how this has been? When did this event start?
This event, all the volunteers who started on this started quite early yesterday. I woke up at 5 in the morning to help get this started. Teams started showing up some early at 7:30, but really it was everything started at about 8 o'clock. We introduced everybody. We took a look at what ideas they brought to the table, formed some teams, and since then they've been hacking away nonstop.
So these are ad hoc teams. These are teams that did not arrive as teams. These arrived as volunteers?
Many teams did come with their friends or their coworkers to work together, but there are some people who showed up solo, looking and hoping to meet someone who would share their vision. They had an idea. They knew they wouldn't get it done in time on their own, and they hooked up with other people here. So it's nice to see that.
So you're one of the judges of this event. Any early favorites you can share with us?
I am one of the judges. I don't think it would be fair to share any early favorites. But what I can say is that every single one of these people have been working extremely hard to get their work done. My work starts when their work finishes, and Russell and I here are going to be doing the best that we can that we pick the best teams.
Terrific. So what exactly are you looking for then when you're talking about these projects? What's the criteria that makes one better than another? Because so far I've talked to someone who's designing like a price finding application that uses Google Glass, and I talked to Amir, who's creating essentially a decentralized Silk Road open market sort of thing. So it seems like there's a lot of diversity just in the two that I've already talked to. What's the criteria?
Well, very good point. Each project is different, and I mean some projects work with Bitcoin, other projects work with Ethereum, other projects don't use either, and it's going to be quite a difficult judging process. But we're going to take a look at the idea. We're going to take a look at how many people were working on the idea. We're going to make sure that all the work was done here, or at least the majority of the work was done here at the hackathon. Last thing we'd want to see is someone who has been working on something for 6 months. They launch it here just trying to get the prize. So I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy process, but each of us judges, we're going to take a look at the work that's put in, the quality of the product that's come out. It's one thing to have a great idea, but really the hackathon is about execution of that idea. So
execution is so critical in this industry. It's something that we see over and over again, is that the ideas actually are easy, and sometimes you kind of walk over, just like stumble over them because they're a problem that needs to be solved. But yeah, the implementation is really the hard part. You mentioned that the projects are focusing on Bitcoin or Ethereum. Mm-hmm. So now we're in Bitcoin Decentral. I know that Anthony Diorio, the director of the Alliance of Canada, has a founding role within the Ethereum project. So is Bitcoin Decentral, or is the Bitcoin Alliance of Canada, are you about more than just Bitcoin now, or is the focus expanding?
Good question. Now, the Bitcoin Alliance of Canada is focused on Bitcoin in Canada. However, the space that we're in, Bitcoin Decentral, this is a co-working space that deals with all types of decentralized apps, Ethereum being one of them. There are a lot of people who work out of this place just on Ethereum. When the In Crypto We Trust hackathon was being formed, we also thought it would be a great idea to make sure that all types of cryptocurrencies are represented. So as long as it deals with crypto or with any kind of decentralization, it has a place here at the hackathon.
I mean, has the Bitcoin Alliance of Canada taken any sort of position on Ethereum beyond kind of the implicit support that's been given? I mean, like, is there an official stance or a thought that there will be an official stance at some point, or is it just kind of we're focused on Bitcoin? There might be a Ethereum Alliance of Canada also at some point, but that's a different thing.
The Bitcoin Alliance of Canada hasn't taken a stance on Ethereum, mostly because Ethereum hasn't launched yet. When the alliance formed, Bitcoin had been around for a few years, and we saw a need for an advocacy group to promote, protect, and educate people about Bitcoin in Canada. For when Ethereum launches, something very similar may crop up, or maybe the Bitcoin Alliance of Canada may choose to expand. That's something for the members to decide, not for the directors.
Terrific. Michael, so the last question is, this is a hackathon, it's a contest. What are the prizes?
There are quite a few prizes. So there's a $20,000 prize donated by BitAngels. That's going to go to the lead team as judged by the judges. There's also a variety of other prizes such as VIP tickets to the conference. I know there's a Casacious coin that's been donated from Bitcoin Sultans to one of the teams. There's a variety of different prizes.
Cool. Well, this sounds great. Michael, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel Delmoli from BitCredits from Montreal.
I'm standing here with Emmanuel. Emmanuel is not actually participating in the hackathon. Instead, he, along with Alex, who we've talked with before about BitCredits, have sponsored this, or are one of the sponsors, and I'm looking at a system right now that says vote for your favorite team, and that lets people vote in with actual value in Bitcoin, which is an idea that I've really been interested in for quite a long time. Can you give me a brief overview of what we're looking at here and how this works?
Yeah, so exactly. So actually tonight we're going to have the vote of the judge, like for the winning team, but this will be the vote of the public. So the idea is to allow anybody on the internet or during the expo. So this will last until the end of the expo. Anybody will be able to send a few bucks or whatever they want to the team that they like. So they can vote for one or many teams, and we've done a little gamification of that, which means that if you send $10 to one team, half of it will go to a jackpot and half of it will go to the team. So the team will have $5 whatever happens, but the other 5 and the jackpot will be won by the winning team at the end of the votes. So that's the carrot that the team will try to get. So the idea is to broadcast that on Twitter, on Reddit, and all the team will talk to their friends, and we want to show how cool Bitcoin can be, like, and how creative we can use Bitcoins actually for a voting system, for a quick, simple voting system.
So now, how long ago did you start developing this system?
Oh, this is we built that in one day. Actually.
So you're not actually.
But actually, behind that there is a payment processor. So BitCredits. So the app itself, like, we've built that in one day, but the payment processor behind that to allow that, and it's not a one-day work. It's a big platform, but we just want to show that we can use that platform for cool stuff.
So besides voting, I mean, what other things do you think that something like this can enable? Or, I mean, not even besides voting, what other types of things do you think that this can enable?
Oh, we're definitely aiming toward the microtransaction. I mean, it makes so much sense. I come from the social game industry, so I know how effective can be microtransaction and how PayPal and credit cards sucks at that. So for newspaper, for blogs, for a lot of different things, this is what we really want to see in the future. But right now we're exploring a lot of new way and creative way actually to use that new digital cash.
So now you mentioned that there was a gamified aspect of it that involves this jackpot, but when you initially said it, I was thinking you were talking about for the user, for the person who was donating or for the person who was tipping, but it sounds like this is like an additional prize that's like the People's Choice Award, so to speak.
Yeah. Right now it's a very small gamification, and it's for the team. So it's kind of, okay, they have to win, so that they will play in a way that if there is 2 or 3 teams like very close to be winning, they're going to try to find friends to send more Bitcoins actually to try to get the jackpot. But it's the first step actually.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that actually.
Because actually we have a lot of ideas about more sophisticated gamification.
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's the thing about these hackathons. Everyone wants to keep it simple so that you can get done with the time limit. But that is one question that I do have is about the gamification, because teams can vote for themselves and you can't really tell. Do you have any concern about that, or do you think that enough of the teams will have like?
It's fair. All the team can vote for themselves, so it's okay, and you can vote as many times as you want. Right. It's not like I take one vote and it's done. It's all about like voting with Bitcoins and trying to capture as many people. I don't think people will vote with $1,000 or $2,000. It's more how many people you can gather, and they need to do that because they have very, very cool project. I've seen like there is 9 or 10 teams. 9 yesterday, now I think there is 10 because there's a split. But they have like amazing ideas. So the idea behind that is to broadcast those ideas, to show those ideas, to show that there is people trying to innovate on top of the innovation that is already like Bitcoins.
Very cool. So I see that you're going to be setting this up at a website. What is the address if people would like to visit this and try out the tool?
So it's not live yet, but actually,
well, it will be.
Okay. So it will be hackathon.bitcredits.io.
Okay, terrific. And this is really going to take a week or so to get out. Is this still going to be up at that point?
So no, actually, they will see the results, but actually the vote will last until the end of the expo. That's the concept.
Fair enough.
So we're gonna stop at around 6 p.m. on Sunday, and then after that, people will see the votes and the winning team and the project and the contact if they want to talk with those teams, etc. So it will last on the internet. Yeah.
Terrific.
And if it works, I mean, we're gonna offer that to any hackathon around cryptocurrency.
Emmanuel, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you, Adam.
From a company called Idea Notion. We are a local Toronto shop doing consulting. So we build web and mobile apps. And as you can see, I'm wearing Google Glass right now. So we built Glass apps as well.
So tell me about the application that you're building for the hackathon. We're now on the final day, a couple hours away from the deadline. So what did you build?
Right. So we built a Google Glass app for Bitcoins. So the app consists of 3 components. One is a simple Bitcoin ticker. So it basically shows you the Bitcoin value and it updates periodically by itself. The second part is a Bitcoin calculator. So it will convert 10 different currencies. So you can read it to the app, to your glass, and it will convert 10 different currencies into Bitcoin values. The third part is that you can read it off use the glass camera, read it off a price tag, and then the app will OCR it and then convert that also into Bitcoin values. So hopefully it gives you some access information, to Bitcoin, allow you to kind of know how much that is.
Right, and so OCR means that basically the machine can read it and then it does the conversion automatically.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Great. So, so you guys started building this a couple of days ago. How far along are you? Are you happy with the project?
We're very happy about the project, and we're pretty much done at this point. There are some bugs we're trying to fix and some final usability issues. Sort of, the stop is supposed to be at the end as opposed to be the front, things like that. But overall, we're pretty happy and should be pretty good.
I see people walking around with Google Glass, but it's not really something that I've done. Is this the sort of thing that you think is going to catch on? I mean, do you see this in the future?
Yes, we definitely think so. Google Glass and wearables in general, right? I think Google's kind of announced the wearable APIs as well. There are few startups actually in Toronto are doing a lot of different wearables as well, such as the Bionum with the wristband that uses your heartbeat to capture and authenticate you. So I think overall, all the wearables will catch on, and that's going to be the trend, right?
So if somebody has heard this interview and is interested in learning more about your company, where can they get in touch with? Who should they get involved with?
They can contact Idea Notion. They can, or just reach me, Brian at ideanotion.net.
Thank you very much for your time, and we look forward to seeing the results.
Cool. Thanks.
CryptoKit is the world's first Chrome browser Bitcoin wallet. It's the easiest, fastest Bitcoin wallet payment system. With a simple one-click install, it takes just seconds to get your wallet set up. And because CryptoKit finds the address and payment for you, there's no more fussing around or tab switching. CryptoKit is more than just a wallet. It comes with a preloaded PGP encrypted social network, news feeds from Reddit and Google, and up-to-date charts from exchanges. Finally, CryptoKit Directory allows you to make two-click payments with any of the BitPay merchants. Once you install CryptoKit, you won't need anything else. For more information or to download CryptoKit, visit CryptoKit.com.
Let's Talk Bitcoin is heard each week by thousands of people who are participating in the new digital economy. Our listener base of Bitcoin owners, miners, investors, technologists, and merchants is growing fast. We offer a limited number of short advertising slots in each show to keep our listeners engaged and to provide maximum impact for our sponsors. If you'd like to talk to us about Let's Talk Bitcoin, send us an email at sponsors@letstalkbitcoin.com. So we're here at the Bitcoin Decentral Hackathon in Toronto, Canada. Yeah, this is my first time in Canada, and I'm here with Amir Taki, one of my favorite people in the Bitcoin space.
Oh, come on! Don't big me up so much.
You're the big idealist here. I love the idealist side of this thing, man. That's the thing about it.
It's cool. Bitcoin's well interesting. It's very different, isn't it? It's not one of these yuppie things like Twitter or It's actual core technology, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think that's the thing, is that, it's a protocol. It's a protocol, so unlike Twitter, Twitter's not a protocol. Twitter has the ability to be influenced and all these other things. So anyways, before we get off into that topic,
Which is a long topic.
Which is a long topic. So, you told me as soon as I got in that you've been up all night working on this project called Dark Market. And can you just explain this briefly, what we're looking at here?
Yeah, it's basically a decentralized Silk Road that can't be shut down or censored with some privacy features. It's not like a production ready. We just did it more as like a proof of concept, a prototype to show that it's possible, The technology's already there, and it has all the basic features that people need to trade freely and that we can use to reclaim our sovereignty and as individuals trading one with another. You have the front page.
So I'm looking at this, and it says submit query, search for nicknames. So you can search for individuals on the marketplace. And then you've got peers here with query shop. So are these people you've added to your?
No. The nicknames. There's like a special blockchain. And that blockchain, each block is registered in the Bitcoin blockchain. And so it groups sets of registrations together like that, and then embeds the hash in the Bitcoin blockchain. And with that, you can query a mapping of someone's nickname to some key, to some public key.
So it's like a DNS system for public key.
Exactly. Okay. Like with putting the payments protocol into Bitcoin is a ludicrously stupid idea because it doesn't benefit small businesses, it doesn't benefit peer-to-peer transfers, it doesn't benefit the black market. The only thing it benefits is Bitcoin corporations that can go to all the hassle of setting up the SSL certificates and relying on compromised certificate authorities that we know large nation states like Iran or the NSA has already compromised that infrastructure. So we use it, but we have Bitcoin and we have the blockchain, so we use that, and that's what we, if people want to really trade with their sovereignty intact, we need to use the only form of distributed consensus that we know in technology, which is the blockchain. So that's what we have. You can type a nickname there.
So this is built on top of Bitcoin then. It's actually embedding data into the Bitcoin blockchain.
Yeah, but it's only 20 bytes, every few hours. So it's absolutely minimal. Okay. It's way small.
Okay, so you've got peers up here, and I see a button that says Query Shop next to it. What happens if we click that button?
It opens a shop front.
Okay, so when that opens that particular person's shop.
Yeah, and then there's going to be a description of the product, with pictures and stuff.
And people can leave reviews. Are those reviews credited to their
The
identity?
reviews are here at the bottom. And also I can leave a review. So it's brilliant guy, 5 out of 5, submit, and it appears there.
Interesting.
And also I can, it's which one was that? That was like the purple. I think it's this one. And I can click buy. Buy the product. So I want to buy your medicinal pills, mind you.
So you're typing into this text field, I want to buy your medicinal pills, and then you're submitting that. So you're not actually selecting an item so much as you are sending that person a message. This is obviously a proof of concept.
Yeah, we were just like, it's like only one night, so we did the simplest thing. But ideally, you'd have each seller with different products. You click the products.
Sure.
But look, I've got a multi-sig escrow address.
Okay.
I put that in my Bitcoin client.
Okay, so now how does one get a multi-sig escrow address? Is this generating multi-sig escrow addresses for you?
Yeah, it's generating
it.
So then I send some Bitcoins to there for the product. Then I put the transaction ID in there. I click paid. Seller confirms that he received it, and he says, I'm shipping the good. Then finally you say, okay, I got the good, and you release the funds by generating the signature to release the money to him, and then he can reclaim the money. But if at any time during that process there's a dispute, you can go to the mutual arbiter that you both agreed upon together. So here we have identity, which is like your nicknames. You have
so can anyone be an arbiter in this system? Can any of these participants, or are there only special participants that can
No. Anybody can be arbiters, but people have to choose you as an arbiter. Okay. And ideally arbiters would have ratings.
Right, just
and
like in real life.
Yeah, in real life.
Okay.
It would be an open market. Right. So you have identity, that you can look up the people by nicknames instead of these weird hashes, which is the holy grail of crypto. You have seller pages. You have reputation. We also have multi-sig escrow. And also private messaging.
So you've built this in the last 24 hours?
Yeah.
That's fun.
And that's basically all the features you need.
The rest of the team?
Yeah, it's a designer. He made it all look pretty and stuff. Good job, man. Say hello.
You're welcome. Hi.
What's your name?
I'm William, and I've basically been running interference, helping these guys stay, focused and operating efficiency.
Cool. And William's also a LibBitcoin contributor. He's been working on LibWallet a lot. So mainly the functionality related to the wallet part of LibBitcoin, like the key stuff.
So, and for people who aren't familiar with LibBitcoin, this is your re-implementation of the Bitcoin specification in a modular version, as opposed to everything being wrapped into one core, right?
Yeah. Do you want me to go into that?
Well, it's probably a longer interview. I do want to get to one other thing, though, while I've got you real quick. You said that the payment protocol is a bad idea to implement because it doesn't help small businesses. What is the barrier to entry on that? Because I wasn't aware that there was much of a barrier to entry.
That you need to get all these SSL certificates, pay for them. If you're just like some kid with no money, the whole point about Bitcoin is it's like everybody can get in there,
Okay,
but if
so
you now
it adds a barrier to entry.
If you need credit cards, you need to set up a VPS, configure your Apache, all this crap. No, it's not a good idea. If you're going to trade on Silk Road, for instance, I have asthma. The other day, I'm in a strange country. I know exactly what I need to get. I go to the pharmacy, and it's for $20. They're like, oh no, you need to go to the doctor. I go to the doctor. I'm like, look, I just need a prescription. He's like, no, you need to pay $150. You need to wait in the waiting room for half a day. Fucking hell, it's like. Who is that protecting? That's just punishing people. It's nonsense. And this whole, it's a sign of how, how the jackboots have been pushed into our face that now that we have to ask permission or we don't even have control over what we ingest into our own bodies. The other day, I was walking 2 days ago, a journalist from the New York Times came to visit me here. And we're walking in the street and I'm telling him about there's so many hackers in hacker spaces. They just build technology for themselves, little toys, tinkering, but there's no social motive behind that. They're not actually making technology for people, which is what technology is, a tool for people to use. And we walked into a bar, what we thought was a bar, and it happened to be the Toronto hacker space. And right there was all these toy trains and toy 3D printers, and we were laughing, oh my God. And we were talking political stuff, and the people there were they were in favor of censorship of the internet, the hackers, and they were like really in their mental boxes, like, oh, who will protect us, you know? Like, what about the bad guys? You know, such black and white thinking, you know? There is no bad guys. There's different motives, you know? And like when the Soviet Union fell, the people had no idea how to do business. They thought they were incapable of doing business because their whole lives they'd been told how they should operate in the market, you know? And in some sense, we're not as extreme as that, but we have lost our sense of integrity that why not to be with our friends, to network with the people around us and try to do the things together? It's possible, and we have the technology to do it, and the tools, the industry, the different projects of economy around the world. And this is why I think Silk Road is so important, because it goes beyond just about the buying drugs. It's a deeper question, you know, like the internet, you know?
Right, yeah. Well, that was kind of, you know, when you're talking about this, that's the feeling that I get from you, is that it's not about any particular object. It's about it not being about a particular object. It's about it being open commerce and a real open market where the barrier to entry is people wanting to do business with each other and finding ways to make that work. And these are basically just tools to create that. So really what you're talking about is just creating a fair market. Yeah,
like, well, I told you a story about asthma. Also, you know, like there's in Europe, there's lots of seeds from local regions with different health benefits, like many, like dozens of them. But because of some bureaucrats who just say, oh, these are the ones that are allowed, and everything off that list is illegal. And so all the local recipes or like local, you know, healthcare, local natural medicines, they're just banned, you know, and they can't be sold on the internet. But with Bitcoin, they can. Or I have a friend, he goes to the fruit markets after they've closed, and you know, there's like the apples with the dent in it, or like the tomato that's gone a bit soft, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just they can't sell it, so they chuck it out. He takes that and he makes marmalade with it, and he sells cheap marmalade. But because of the EU regulation, health, safety, blah, 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 he can't sell it on internet. But with Bitcoin, you can, you know, like, okay, and so this is great use of otherwise wasted food. Like, why not, you know? Well, but let me play devil's advocate here, you know. So what if he sells that on the internet for Bitcoin to someone who's in the same country or in a different country, and that person gets sick and dies? Because, I mean, that's something with, like, canned goods. There's the consequences are pretty serious if you get it wrong. All of last year, I had no money, and I spent the way I ate was going to supermarkets and skipping their bins. Specifically what I'm asking. And they throw out a lot of good food in the packaging because it's a day past sell by, and it's perfectly edible, you know? Right. There's a huge amount of waste in our society. I'm not arguing. And this waste is not driven by the market. It's driven by consumerism, by borrowing, by growth and overconsumption. It's not about making the things you have go further. It's about borrowing on debt, about, you know, living outside of your means, and that's not the world I want to live in, you know. And the whole planet is being destroyed. Like when I was living in Califo, it's like I start to discover about the nature around me, you know, and it's absolutely depressing, like how, you know, how the ecosystem is being destroyed. And we're destroying all of our food stocks, replacing all the diversity, you know, which helps us to live, to be healthy, with pests and parasites, you know. And this is the legacy we're leaving to our children, who's gonna pay. You know, it's not us that has to pay. You know, we just burn oil and it's gonna run out, and that's that, you know. Amir Taki, I really look forward to hearing more from you over the next couple of days. I think this is not going to be our only interview. Thank you very much for your time, and you know, good work on this project. Yeah, absolutely. It's good to finally meet you too. It's wicked.
I'm Ron Denbo, founder and CEO of Zero Footprint. Prior to that, I was the founder and CEO of Algorithmics, a risk management software company, and prior to that, Professor at Yale.
So tell me about Zero Footprint. What is it that you do at Zero Footprint?
So at Zero Footprint, we have a mission to make large-scale behavior change feasible. So in particular, we began with pure environmental issues, things like reduction in carbon on a large scale. But more recently, we've moved to more of what would be called a sustainability agenda, or what we call a good agenda. That is, health is a very big part of it, as well as environment. And that's based on simply the fact that health and energy and water and food and are all interlinked. So you can't really ignore one and do the other. And I think you've really done holistic change.
So when it comes to holistic change, you're saying that Zero Footprint enables large users to do this. What does it do that enables large users to do this where they couldn't on their own?
What we do is we link users who do a good action. Let's say the action is walking 30 minutes a day so that you get healthier, with people who are interested in funding that event and with products that are good for them. So essentially we track a life cycle of good. So an example might be a life insurance company that would like to know that you're actually exercising 30 minutes a day, because their costs will go down if they're insuring you. And so they motivate you to do this by giving you Goodcoins for walking 30 minutes a day. And what's really changed recently, and why we're actually in business, is the fact that you can measure this. So in other words, you can do this on an evidence-based basis. So if I track your Nike band or your Moves app, and it tells me how much you've moved, based on that, I can actually reward you. And then I can link you to other products and services that are good, particularly for you. So we do this through a mechanism called Goodcoins, and Goodcoins really are a currency. It's a parallel currency that works very well in a bartering situation. You walk 30 minutes a day, you can translate that into buying good food or reductions on good food. You save energy, and you can get Goodcoins and use those to buy devices that will improve your health. So the life cycle of a Goodcoin is controlled, as opposed to, say, the life cycle of any Air Miles program.
Well, so let's talk about that for a second. So it sounds to me like what you're doing is you're quantifying. You talked about like the bracelets and things like that. Those are devices that have motion sensors in them and things like that then are able to quantify. That's really what you're talking about here with Zero Footprint, I think, is quantifying these events that you have classified as good, right?
In a sense, one of the things that we're doing that's really new is doing everything on an evidence-based basis.
So when you talk about an evidence-based basis, you're not saying, this is compared to something where someone commits to doing something. They say, I will do this. And then you say, okay, well, we'll pay you in advance for that. Rather, you're saying, do the work first and use these various ways to prove that you've done the work. And then you'll be compensated for the work that you've actually done.
Yeah. So, for example, if you think of many governmental programs, what you typically have is the government comes out with a program to get you to, I don't know, eat well or walk or whatever. And those programs are funded up front rather than on the back end. If you've walked, I'll pay you, but not otherwise. So what's happened is there's a proliferation of devices out there now, and it's growing exponentially. Think of Google's contact lens that'll measure your glucose levels. So if you are a diabetic and you keep the glucose levels within certain ranges during the day, as measured by your contact lens, we will reward you, we being the person who benefits from that. It could be the Department of Health, it could be an insurance company, it could be your business, your office.
Is that information transparent? Like in this particular example that you're giving me, do you think that Google would be able to actually see my glucose levels, or would they just be able to see that they were within this range? That, I mean, like, are you as the company doing the quantifying, doing any sort of filtering like this or providing any sort of buffer, or is it just transparency through?
No, there would be buffers on every device. So, for example, we use a device now that's on your iPhone. It's a $2 app that allows you to measure whether you walked, biked, or ran today and how much you did. And that device obviously is model-based, and there are errors. There's no model that's 100% correct. It's a good saying in statistics. So all models are wrong. Some are useful. So this model, to some degree, gives you a fairly good reading of how many steps you took today. Based on that number of steps, we can sort of calibrate that model to, say, a Nike band, which also measures steps. It probably comes up with a different number. And based on those numbers, think of it as an index, we can actually determine how much you walk and reward you for walking enough.
Okay, cool. So when it comes to the rewards on these, I heard you talking about examples that have people who are kind of already invested in me, right? Like my insurance company would care that I am taking steps to not need to use my insurance. That seems like something they would clearly want to incentivize. So really, it seems like what you're doing here is you're providing like a middle layer where companies that you have a relationship with already want you to do stuff based on that relationship that will make their relationship with you better. So you essentially provide the incentive layer where you're able to measure those things that those companies would like you to do, and then to also compensate for doing those things. So you're providing an incentive layer here, right? That's what this program really is.
But there's beyond that to the insurer. I mean, obviously subject to privacy. What we determine at some level is who are the people who are most susceptible to a particular type of reward, which is very useful information for, say, Whole Foods, who might want to sell organic food.
Okay.
So that if I'm someone who's very diligent about walking every day, I'm more likely, and I care about the world, I'm more likely to want to buy organic food than if I was just an average person in the population.
So there's also a marketing element to it, too.
Yes, we do identify good. We identify wherever good is. So an example of some of the things that we're involved in now, we have 3 cities, 2 of which I can talk about, but one of which in that city we're looking at reductions in electricity, gas, and water, and walking simultaneously. So you can imagine that if I found a person who was very diligent about reducing their energy and walk every day, they're more likely to be someone who would be interested in doing good for the world. Someone who's selling products that are good for the world would more likely be able to sell to those people. And we provide that niche market. We know who is interested in good, and hence the name Goodcoins.
So let's talk about Goodcoins for a second. So these are a token, and generally when we talk about tokens on the Let's Talk Bitcoin show, we're talking about full-on cryptocurrency that you can then take and trade for any other cryptocurrency. But from a conversation that you and I had earlier, it doesn't sound like that's the case with this one. Can you kind of talk about what this coin is, how it's different from others, or, what type of utility you think it has?
So there's 2 aspects that are different. One is the collateral, if you want, for the coin is some social good that has occurred. You walk 30 minutes a day, you reduced energy, and so on. That, in some sense, it backs the coin. The other difference is that the coin is not fungible into other currencies, except other currencies that do good. For example, it might be fungible into a unit of some charity, or it might be fungible into something that's inherently good, like a device to help you with your health. So you can think of it more like a barter currency. We're bartering one form of good for another. It's not a currency that you could imagine that one would speculate with. Imagine the worst comes to worst, someone steals my Goodcoins. Well, all they can do with it is buy good stuff. So it's not going to be damaging in the worst case.
So why would somebody want to have Goodcoins if they're not exchangeable for other things? Because one can make an argument that stock isn't exchangeable for other things, and yet stock has value, and yet stock can appreciate. So what gives Goodcoins value?
Yeah, they're exchangeable for products that are good. So, for example, I can buy an organic chicken with 2,000 Goodcoins, because we deem, in the society that we're in, might deem that organic chickens are good for you.
And so who sets those prices if the market isn't allowed to do that? And who would sell you the chicken if nobody, I mean, like, why would someone sell you a chicken for something that can't be then used for something else?
Well, imagine Whole Foods wants to sell more chickens. They want to drive you to their store. I'm just using them as an example. We don't have a deal with Whole Foods. So they actually come and put an ad on your site, effectively. Think of it like a coupon. And that coupon gives you some good reason to go into their store. Like this month only, you get 10% reduction on a chicken with 2,000 Goodcoins. The Goodcoins in this case are marketing currency for Whole Foods, but they are your bartering currency as an owner of a Goodcoin wallet. So in that case, it's a pure marketing effort on the part of Whole Foods. But because we've deemed, or society has deemed, that the organic chicken they sell is good for you, or the local food they sell is good for our local economy, that bartering is allowed. But effectively, the coins do have value, and in this case, they translate for Whole Foods into marketing value. In the case of other devices, the person selling that device gets to be interested in more than one thing that they sell, so it's driving you to their store. So that's where the value comes to be.
So it's like a rebate system for the entire ecosystem of good, as opposed to being centered on one particular thing. So when people are talking about tokens again in a cryptocurrency paradigm, when Whole Foods received a Goodcoin, they would then be able to sell that back onto the market. What happens to Goodcoins when they are spent?
They are retired, or in some cases bartered for other good. So if Whole Foods wants to reward its employees with Goodcoins, which they could then spend on, a glucose meter, they can do that. So in other words, let's say your Airbnb is a Goodcoin, gives you Goodcoins for every Airbnb booking. It's possible that those Goodcoins go through a life cycle of bartering. But in each case, the bartering is for good.
Ron Dembo, thanks for sharing your project with us. To learn more, visit their website at goodcoins.ca. Hey folks, Adam B. Levine here with some updates. Firstly, BitcoinPackaging.com is launched and is ready for orders. You might not think that you need a sleeve of 100 bioplastic drink cups, but as Bitcoin becomes more mainstream, more of the businesses you eat at will have a need for this sort of thing. When they ask what they can do with the Bitcoin people pay to them, now you can tell them that all their food service packaging is available for below their current cost when they spend it with BitcoinPackaging.com. This is one of our many attempts to help close the loop. In other news, there are two sides to every story, and Mike Hearn, who was mentioned at length during episode 106 with Amir Taki, very much disagrees with some of the things said. Notably that he collaborated with Dutch police, his working with Circle, he's on the advisory board but isn't an employee, and also took issue with how Amir described being removed from the Bitcoin security list. To read his full comments, visit letstalkbitcoin.com/counterpoint. Back to the show.
I'm here talking with Ernest Hancock. Ernest is an old friend of mine, and he is a radio show host and a freedom activist. He runs the popular freedom website, Freedom's Phoenix. That was a lot of freedom.
Freedom with an S, Phoenix.com. Fortunately, my brother-in-law lives here, and he's a bond rater at Moody's, so you can imagine the interesting conversations we have.
Very interesting.
So I got him to commit to coming to an hour tomorrow, so I was hoping to get the best, and the best thing is we get MaidSafe, MAID safe.net. MaidSafe is a distributed, off-the-grid, totally encrypted, everything kind of peer-to-peer internet. And I took their white papers and sent them. We got enough Uber geeks in the libertarian movement. And I said, take a look at this. Is this what I think it is? And they're, yep. And it was what we thought as young activists, back when we were a lot of these revolutionaries aged 25 years ago, that the internet would go to a you would have all the information on like bulletin boards or on your own servers or distributed amongst people's computers and empty space on hard drives, and kind of we would be the internet, not this internet service provider that would have the NSA arm and legs wrapped around their data, lines, So we thought that was where the internet was going to go. When it went to the World Wide Web and all this centralized mindset, it kind of went down the dark side. Well, there are a lot of people like David Irvine that saw this as a server guy back in the 90s, and they started creating their own stuff for like the last 7-8 years. So what we did is we said, you know what? What we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and create this type of distributed internet that's encrypted, and everything's, accessible to anybody, encrypted. And I could see that this was a manifestation of what we were thinking about 25 years ago. So when I had the Uber geeks and the Liberty movement look at it, if this is what I thought it was, and they started getting excited, people I respected. So I go, I'm booking my trip to New York, so here I am. And I got to meet them, and they were sitting there talking to Forbes, so they introduced me to the reporter from Forbes and explained why I was so excited about them. And I go to Forbes, I'm like, you guys have no idea what you don't understand. As much as they didn't understand Bitcoin, they don't understand this new technology. So I am of the opinion that if this pans out what they're doing, and they're speaking tomorrow, they got added to the program. There's so much interest in them. They're like, okay. So I'm bringing my brother-in-law. We're going to, get a Moody's guy in here. He's going to be the smartest guy at the water cooler, and it's going to be a presentation of what I think is the future of the internet. We'll see if Ernie's right. Again.
Yeah, Ernie's been right before.
So it's going to be fun. I look forward to promoting. I've had him on twice. If you just do a Google search on David Irvine, Ernest Hancock, or MAID, M-A-I-D, safe.net, and Freedom's Phoenix, the two shows we did will come up. One was introduction. The other one was after I had some of our guys take a look at the technical white papers, and there's some validation of what's coming. So people should pay attention to that. I think that's going to be awesome.
So you're really excited about Made Safe. I mean, what do you want it for? Like, why do we need a decentralized internet?
What it offers is the ability at the roots to be encrypted for every 1 and 0 that goes over any communication that we do. That's not just things like Bitcoin. It's not just things like being able to download and pirate and do and everything. It's all 1s and 0s that nobody gets to see, and you can do whatever you want. And the thing is that they try to couch it as, yeah, but you'd be like buying drugs and getting hookers or something. And like, one, as if there was a problem with that. But I mean,
nobody does that with cash.
Yeah, see, that's my point. I'm going, the whole thing is that it's not about what you do with your freedom. It's about having your freedom. So for me is that I don't care what you do with your freedom. I just want to be free. It's about me, not you. There's like Puritans all over the planet worrying about somebody having fun somewhere. But the thing is that what it really is, and the power behind it for me, is that when we were at Texas Bitcoin Conference, it was the same issue. There is not a mechanism by which I can donate to liberty causes anonymously, not even with Bitcoin. So I'm going, that is where the power is, that you can donate unlimited amounts of money to yourself and go over a border, to someone else for some project that you support, and not have any kind of repercussions from the man. Once that happens, the government just becomes anachronistic and it's over. And I think it's within, like really close on the horizon. I see the storm clouds, and I think the man does too.
You think that's going to happen? The government's going to become basically obsolete as these technologies come out. It's not going to be a violent revolution. It's a peaceful evolution.
No, well, it'll be violent to them. They'll make it violent. I mean, they'll be, going around. It is violent. They're going around with billy clubs beating the crap out of anybody that doesn't lick their boot fast enough.
Good point. Yeah.
So the violence is already there, but it's not sought by us. They need the violence to justify their existence. So what happened was I'm like, I see that there is the ability for us, you and I and anybody, for us to communicate in any way with financial transactions, communication, biscuit recipes, whatever, that the man doesn't have any kind of ability to stop it, to regulate it, or to socially or economically engineer which one we do or how we do it. Once that happens, government becomes anachronistic. And I give you an example. A year and a half ago, after I saw what Bitcoin represented, My wife Donna and I, we bought at an auction some land in northern Arizona. We took that land and we said, you know what? We're not going to register it with the county recorder. What we're going to do is we're just going to keep it, transfer it from having take possession in a trust, then sell it to a trust that we did, and then not file it, waiting for bit lot, bit land, bit parcel, bit something, and we register it with that. Now, we'll pay the taxes. I don't want to deal with that issue, but what I want to do is not register it with the government. I register it with the planet of a blockchain that we recognize. Yep, that's the GPS coordinates of your whatever.
Right.
Who will enforce it? Who will recognize it? I don't care. First, you got to be able to do it. So when you do it, what does that mean? You don't need a county recorder anymore, because I'm going, how do you recognize a property right? Well, first you got to define it. Then who's going to enforce it? Well, the government doesn't enforce it. They just side with the banks no matter what, and foreclosure or whatever, and who pays them enough. Right. So I'm just going, they already lost their credibility. So now I'm looking for another way to demonstrate how this can eliminate the county recorder, because that was a roadblock in my own mind. And once I saw that this could be done, all of a sudden I'm going, oh, baby, it's all over. So you just start chipping away at all the things that government say that they have in my service. Well, they don't. And this was just another example. MadeSafe allows that on like everything, any ones and zeros on communication over OuterNet, which is the CubeSats. They just launched in February, 33 small satellites, and boom, they're done.
Amazing. The future is here.
Done.
You're also really excited about BitShares, right?
What happened was Joby Weeks and Stephanie are good friends, and they did their Neon Energy drink, and they sponsored an event right by Wall Street. There they have like 50 feet from the opening of Wall Street, the building there, where they have people come in with suitcases of cash, and they're buying Bitcoin and selling and back and forth, and they're doing and buying shares in companies. Well, I talked to the guys, BitShares here, I want them to come on the show and everything, and explain to me, how much more. It's not a security, it's just more honest in having the ability of a transparent ownership of companies. It's just another, making government anachronistic. I don't need to have them regulate. They can't regulate. It's totally outside of that. And who represents the credibility and the validity of my ownership in some company using BitShares? Well, they do. And if they don't do it, I don't do them anymore. But it's going past Wall Street. I love it that they did it right next to it, because I'm going, I can do this and own a piece of a company without having to file an IRS thing. I don't have to, show my capital gains of how much I own and put it on the stock purchase of I'm running for office and I got to disclaim whatever.
Without being an accredited investor, too, because right now, small investors can't really buy shares in companies.
It bypasses all social and economic engineering. When they say, well, it's to protect you, you should have limits on this, or you can only do so much of that.
Right. It's for your own good.
I don't want them to even have that. If I screw up, guess what? I get educated pretty damn quick when I lose my money.
Right.
That's the best regulator, is the free market. So when I talk to people that are so much in the system and they're so concerned about, well, somebody's going to get screwed, I go, good. That'd be a lesson learned, won't it? Right. So that's where the regulation is from the just learning. So there's going to be solutions out there. We got to get the nanny state out of our hair so that all these things will blossom, and I'm seeing it happen. They had an event here where they had a bunch of pro-regulators, and this guy was an aide to Chuck Schumer, and this guy was an attorney for a government whatever, and this is someone that was a lobbyist to the Canadian government, and they're all, well, you got to have, so that it's approved by government. And I'm going, why? I mean, one, you don't understand that what you're advocating, you can't regulate the blockchain. That's the point. You're talking about the third-party people, but they don't ever make that point. And I'm going, what you're advocating for is a different cryptocurrency that can be regulated. Fine, knock yourself out. But they don't advocate that because they know nobody will do it. They won't use it. So they're trying to somehow get some kind of tentacles or just our brain around the idea of like voluntarily allowing for regulation in Bitcoin. And I go, and the argument is, well, you'll be trading Bitcoin at Starbucks. I go, good. I thought that's what it was going to be anyway.
Right.
I don't understand your point. So later after the event, some people got asked that question, made that point. So a bunch of people could thank God somebody made that point. And then the attorneys on the committee I had lunch with, Mark Edge and I are sitting there talking to this guy, and I'm going, I don't think you guys are being very forthright with the people, that what you're really advocating and what you're talking about, you can't do. That's the point. I'm looking for not kind of hacks in the system or kind of, finagling, or I can do it better, or you got the just button that's 14 strokes on your keyboard. I want something that I don't have to have on their system, that it hacks the entire thing by just avoiding it. MadeSafe.net, MAID. You keep an eye on that. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Very cool. Ernie, thanks a lot. Anything you want to add?
Freedom's the answer. What's the question?
I love it. All right, and you can find your website at freedoms.phoenix.com.
Yep.
And your radio show is there.
Declare your independence with Ernest Hancock. Oh, and you don't need me. You can do it yourself. Declare my independence. See how easy it was?
I love it. Thank you so much, Ernie.
Thanks for listening to episode 107 of Let's Talk Bitcoin. Content for this episode is provided by Emmanuel of BitCredits, Brian of Idea Notion, Michael Perklin, Amir Taki, Ron Dembo, Stephanie Murphy, Ernie Hancock, and Adam B. Levine. This episode was edited by Adam B. Levine and Denise Levine. Music for this episode was provided by Jared Rubens and General Fuzz. Any questions or comments? Email Adam at letstalkbitcoin.com. Have a good one.